let's talk lastly about Elon Musk, Starlink, the reevaluation, the rainbow currency, how this all fits together. Are we close? Are we not close? Every day it seems that we're close, and then all of a sudden, then everything goes quiet, like today and yesterday. Nothing's happening, right? It's like, okay, 3 days ago we were close. All of a sudden, nobody's talking, nobody's saying anything that indicates that we are close, and it's frustrating. So, I'm telling this because I'm frustrated. I want to get my anger out to the white hats to get moving. I want to get my anger out to Mr. 45. We love you, brother, but we got to rock, baby. It's time. We're done. We don't want to pay $18 for a box of eggs. We don't want to pay $12 for a gallon of gas. We got to go now. It's go time. So how does Elon Musk and Starlink and the RV and the rainbow currency all fit in together? Are we close, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, they say the night is darkest just before the dawn, right? Mm-hmm. So the crazier it seems, the point where it seems like all hope is lost and where it seems so confusing, that's how you know you're close. So
to get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There'll be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Unified TV will take over Netflix. We're bringing in the next genre of movie producers and storytellers and actors and actresses. And we're telling the story of how the world is going to be on earth as it is in heaven. Jasara Nasara is coming. Don't make no mistake about it. Gold and silver right down below. Promo code Mel Carmine. Make sure you use the promo code. Almost $8 billion in sales. We're direct to like a bunch of mints. We are the ones that can get you the gold and silver directly to your door, okay, at the cheapest price. Don't even waste your time looking for a cheaper price. It doesn't exist. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. Our Patriots are literally waiting for you in the room. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail, and we'll get you as much as you want. Well, good afternoon, folks. It's 17 after, as usual. You know exactly what team we are on. 17 after 3 o'clock here in Costa Rica. And we got Jace from the Cosmic Origin. What is it? Crypto? What is it?
Cosmic Origins and Conscious Crypto is my coaching business.
There you go. My eyesight's going there. That's how you know how old I am. I apologize. We're going to talk a little bit about Flair. We're going to talk about a little bit about Aquarium. He happens to be a coach in this particular area. You might get some FOMO. Okay, don't blame me, blame him. We're going to talk about some cabal confusion because they want you guys not to be rich. We want you to be mega wealthy. Okay, we're going to talk about the $100,000 if you want to buy digital assets through Coinbase. We're going to talk about Elon Musk. We're going to talk about Starlink. He's on Starlink right now. Guys, you're in for a show. Jace, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Thanks, Mel. I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you having me back on. Had a fun chat last time, so looking forward to diving into it again.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Flair. Let's talk about Aquarium. I understand you could buy Flair right now in the open market. Flair Spark is the spark that's going to ignite the engine of XRP, XLM, XDC, and we're ready to go. We're waiting for the cabal to untie their shorts because they're having a little game. It's called central bank digital currency, and everybody knows that system is to enslave us. We don't need another bridge on the blockchain. We already got the perfect bridge. It's called XRP. It's called XLM. It's called XDC. We don't need you bankers. Go away already. Right?
Truth. Yeah, exactly. So just to dive into that, with my students in my coaching program, the three main assets that we're focusing on for 2023 are, of course, XRP, but then also Flair and Corium. So going into Flare first, Flare was something that XRP holders have known about for quite some time now, because it's been something that's been brewing since 2020, at least. We had the snapshot December 2020 for XRP holders, and we've been waiting kind of anxiously since then. And I always had the feeling that when Flare was released, that was going to be a kind of a timing moment for how we would know that we were close toward this financial reset being more fully implemented on a mainstream level. So like you said, Flare was just kind of fully released this past month, the FLR tokens, which they're actually not calling Spark anymore. It's funny. They used to call them Spark. And I'm glad that you brought up those 17 quotes, because I was one of the first people, I think, along with you, that found those quotes in the 17 drops, and it just blew my mind. But yeah, now they're just calling it the FLR token. They kind of dropped the Spark label. But I'm really excited about this one because, for one, XRP right now, there's no innate native way to generate passive income from it. I do think that that's going to be coming in the near future, probably this year, next year, with XLS 30 amendments, which are going to bring in liquidity pools and basically essentially staking for the XRP ledger. But until that point, there's no direct way to create interest from our XRP without going to a third party. So Flare is one of those that's developing this mechanism along with Corium, which I'll get into in a moment. But Flare is going to be introducing these F assets, right, which are going to be allowing passive income generation from projects that don't have smart contract and DeFi capability built in. So XRP, Bitcoin, you name kind of a legacy blockchain that doesn't have that, and it'll probably allow that if the community votes it in, essentially. So passive income wise, that's one of the big things that I'm focused on with my students for 2023, because, sitting in the bear market, it's good to be able to start generating passive income and put our assets to use while we're kind of waiting for that appreciation to really kick in the next bull run. So Flare is what I'm seeing as being the passive income powerhouse for not just XRP holders, but for the crypto space in general, and creating this interoperability between different blockchains. So like you mentioned, XRP is the bridge on kind of the financial banking side. I see Flare as kind of being the bridge on the blockchain interoperability. So where XRP is the settlement bridge, Flare is like the data bridge, if that makes sense. And there's a really sweet, amazing opportunity right now in accumulating Flare tokens, because there is a governance proposal that is passing overwhelmingly right now. The first governance proposal for the Flare network, which is basically restructuring the way that the airdrop was supposed to take place. And basically, now that we have like 93% in favor of it, it's probably going to pass in the next couple of days. What this is going to allow is anybody who buys FLR token right now will be getting roughly 6.6 times the amount that you're holding in an airdrop over the next 36 months. And that's going to be the way that the token is distributed to not just the XRP community, but to other people who are now joining, because of course, this is going to be bigger than just XRP community. It's going to be bridging other communities as well, and kind of, bringing over the Bitcoin people, hopefully. So passive income wise, amazing opportunity with this airdrop, 6.6 times the amount that you hold. And in addition, there's basically the staking mechanism that Flare has developed that is more advanced than general proof of stake staking. So Flare uses this mechanism called the Flare Time Series Oracle. And instead of staking in a traditional way where your coins go towards securing the network itself, like with Ethereum or Cardano, the staking that you do with Flare is towards, instead of them being validators, these validators, the FTSO providers, they provide off-chain data on-chain. So this is really important for bringing in market prices and other data that's not natively on the blockchain to one hub. And so we can basically use that mechanism to stake for right now about 25% APY, which is really good. And it compounds bi-weekly. So basically you get compounding interest twice a week. That 25% doesn't even include the compounding interest, but you add that in, you add these airdrops, basically the next, 6 months, year, couple years is going to be really, I think, successful for the Flare networks and investors in it. So behind XRP, that's kind of been my number 2 project that I'm following right now.
How risky is it to really stake your assets? Does your assets leave? In some instances, I know as this thing evolves into whatever it morphosizes into as we go, because we don't all have the answers. We are getting close to having all the answers, but we're not quite there yet. So how does that work? Does your money leave your wallet and it lands in someone else's wallet, where someone else could take off with your money? That would be the first thing I would worry about. I was raised as a Sicilian. My mom taught me to never trust anybody. Everybody's out to rob you. And because of that, I want to know.
Yeah, great question. So this is the main differentiator that I see in the staking mechanism, is you don't have to have your tokens leave your wallet. So traditionally with Ethereum, Cardano, any of these proof of stake networks, your tokens do actually leave your wallet, which is a security risk in terms of, a bug on the system, malicious activity. When you're using the tokens themselves to be the security for the network, there's an inherent risk in that. And anytime the tokens have to leave your wallet.
Or
So
somebody that could be like in an FTX state of mind.
Well, yeah. So like with Ethereum, for example, you have to have your tokens, like people have their tokens locked on platforms like Coinbase indefinitely, where they can't even get their tokens back right now because they're in this like indefinite locking period and they can't even withdraw if they wanted to, which is ridiculous. So with Flare, it doesn't work like that. Like the tokens never leave your wallet. There's no security risk in terms of doing the staking because the tokens never leave. So you see them in your wallet the entire time. You can choose to enter or exit that delegation pool at any moment. You only have to leave the tokens in for 3-day periods to receive the rewards, but there's no risk in leaving them in because it's a detachable mechanism. So because it's detachable, you get to keep your tokens in your wallet, and it's basically a vote that you're using that detaches, and that vote is what earns you the interest. And then at any moment, if you're just like, hey, I need to sell right now, I need to move them to another wallet, you're not bound, you're not locked there. You can just pull them out and do what you want. So way more freedom, way more flexibility.
Gotcha. Now, let's say you have more Flare than I have. Does that give you more voting rights than me because I have less than you?
It does. So this is one thing that is different about Flare than the XRPL. So with the XRPL in comparison, the governance is through the validators. So the validators are the ones that are actually voting on the network proposals. With Flare, every token that you have is a vote. So it's a little more, it's a different system. You could say there's pros and cons to each one. It's kind of, representation versus direct delegation. But for a lot of people, they kind of like that better because you can directly vote with the amount of tokens that you have. And of course, the more invested in the network you are, the more involved you are, the larger governance that you have over it.
Can you give us an example of what are some of the things we're voting for that causes that reaction so that we can get interest? Keep it in layman's terms for the average guy that's just coming into the space. We don't want to sound too intelligent. We want to sound like pizza guys. We're explaining on a pizza guy level where everybody can understand. All right.
Yeah. So to give an example of like how a proposal would work. So this first proposal that is basically in progress right now that Flare users can go vote on, that was put forward by the Flare Foundation. However, I think in the future, users like us will be able to initiate proposals as well. So this first proposal basically changed the airdrop structure. So the team basically looked and reflected on themselves and went, okay, we want to engage other audiences besides just XRP. They really were involved in the XRP community and still very supportive of them, but they wanted to bring in other people and groups and give them early advantage opportunity as well in investing. So that combined with the issue with the exchanges and the exchanges holding people's coins, this has been a big problem for airdrops in any token, where if the exchanges get the tokens and they're supposed to distribute them to the users of the exchanges like us, a lot of times those exchanges just go corrupt and they just close their mouth and don't say anything, and they keep all that money for themselves.
And they leave.
Yeah, exactly. They'll go bankrupt. They'll take that money, whatever. Like they'll just, it's the Wild West out there.
Like the FTX guy, he just took the money and ran, right?
Exactly.
What do you think is going to happen to this guy? Do you think this guy should go to prison? I mean, this guy should get a beat down for like a month.
Yeah, man. I think, I don't want to say he's a victim, but I think he's a pawn in the bigger
Oh
system,
yeah,
you know.
you know that the Maxine Waters and the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumers, they got their fingers. Even Gary, even that guy, right? He's got his hands all over that thing, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, he's definitely the pawn that's going to be sacrificed as the sacrificial lamb. No question about it. I totally agree with you. But do you think for shits and giggles, or maybe they give him some plastic surgery and send them to Buenos Aires, and then they give him some real good plastic surgery where you can't recognize him. They give him a new identity, and they'll make a clone of him, and they'll kill the clone to satisfy. You know,
It's
we
very
are in a
possible.
movie, right? We're in a movie, right?
Yep, yep. No, it's very possible. And I feel like until the current admin is changed on the surface level and until
Right,
Gary is out of office, he's probably going to get that free pass and probably just a slap on the wrist.
right.
But when, you know, the new power structure comes in, or at least shows that it's been here the whole time, I think that's when we'll see justice served, not just for him, but for the other corrupt actors in the space too.
Interesting. Let's talk about the central bank digital currency, which I talk about this just about in every other video. It gets boring after a while, but I have to drive the point home, because do you believe that we need another bridge on the blockchain? I mean, the XRP was created as the most perfect bridge currency the world is ever going to see. Why in the world do we need another bridge currency? Because somebody wants to bleed us and somebody wants to give us a social score. You and I would probably have like 900 trillion minus zero as a social score walking down the street. Okay. So how does this, I mean, all break down? How does these banksters disappear and get the hell out of our life, and they come to the consensus or the conclusion that they have lost this game and it's time for them to move on? How do we do that?
Well, I think it's happening right now with what Ripple's doing. I think Ripple, the company, is kind of Trojan horsing the WEF and the world, you know, banking,
Yeah,
the cartel banking system.
sure.
And that, you know, right now the CBDCs are being tested on different networks, but heavily through the XRP ledger. So the way I see it is that they see the value in the XRP ledger, and I think Ripple's coming to them and going, look, you can adapt to this new technology, or you can continue playing your game, but it's not going to work out well for you. So, you know, this technology is here, it's here to stay, and you can either jump on board and try to get on an even playing field with everybody else, or, you know, you can kind of burn and crash. So I think that they're going to jump on board, and I think that's the reason that they're developing CBDCs, testing, I should say, on the XRPL versus, say, making a whole brand new blockchain for
Right,
their own CBDC, because you don't see that as much. It seems like more so they're going to be building out on a
right,
pre-existing one. So what
right.
I tell people is it's better, you know, if this is going to happen, if they're going to push this, it's better to hold the parent asset, in this case XRP, of course, on the what it's being built on. You want to have the parent asset instead of being stuck with the CBDC. So for the average person, you know, if they go through with their timeline, they're probably going to have an event where we have an economic financial crisis where they say, look, everything in your bank, you now have to switch this into digital US dollars. And it might not even be a one-to-one, right? There might be
Yeah,
fees and all this other stuff where people are losing out. But for the people that have invested in the parent assets like XRP, those systems are still going to be using XRP. If it's built on XRP, XRP is going to be an inherent part of that. And those who have it will kind of be given like this like a God frequency you know, asset to work with, instead of being stuck with the denser CBDC. So I think, you know, this is it's probably going to happen in the short term, but I think in the long term, what we're going to see is the banks are going to be put on an even playing field with everybody else, and that people will slowly realize, hey, we don't need the banks anymore, and they're going to have the free will to be able to move away from it. And then in response, the banks may try to offer some incentive that is, you know, in their opinion, better than what people are going to get through self-banking or the blockchain. So there will be kind of this like catalyst, I think, by the will of God, that will kind of force the banks to step up and become something new and embody a new energy on Earth, or they're going to crash and burn with the old energy that they're trying to hang on to.
gotcha. And how does PolySign play a role in all of this going forward? the banks that want to survive, are they going to have to adopt PolySign in your opinion? And how does that work based on what you envision?
You know, to be honest, I'm not too well read into PolySign. I'm familiar with it, but I'm not very experienced or researched in it. But it does seem like it is a present force, and that it's going to be really changing the way that a lot of these systems are interacting with each other, and what they're able to do without that legacy banking system. So I think it's promising, but I definitely need to look into it more myself.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. I do know enough to be dangerous, and I do know enough that the banking, the financial service centers, which is what many of them are starting to call themselves, by the way, of the future, are going to have no choice but to adapt that software or go out of business. There's no third option on the table. The cabal confusion. Let's talk about that for a second. How and what are they doing, or why they're doing what they're doing to confuse the hell out of the little guy that you and I want everybody to be? You and I suffer from the same thing. We want everybody to have. Okay, that's our disease. Okay, it's uncurable. We want everybody to have abundance beyond your wildest dreams. They want you sick and dying and your teeth falling out and miserable and bitching and moaning, and we don't want that for you. We want you to be healthy and wealthy. Talk to us about the cabal confusion.
Yeah, so they want you distracted and confused right now.
Yeah.
They want people unsure and uncertain of where to put their money. They want you afraid to invest it in the new technologies. They want you to keep it liquid. They want you to have this 3 months of cash on hand, so that they can basically continue to inflate and diminish the current system. I was just listening to Grant Cardone, which I know that you've
I love Grant.
Yeah, I know you've hopped onto a show before and told him about XRP.
Yeah.
So Grant was saying this exactly. He's like, look, do you think you should have 3 months of savings? Do you think you should own a home as an investment? Do you think you should do, all these things they tell you to do? No, like these are all the things that they're trying to do to confuse you. They want you to have a 401k. They want you to have, cash under your bed. They want you to be out of the markets, and especially out of XRP and the crypto markets that are going to be revolutionizing things. So the goal for them is create chaos, create confusion, and you kind of just want to do the opposite. Like, I think the best thing to do is to connect straight with God, pray, see what God tells you about this new financial system. If you're unsure about it still, if you're listening, you're like, oh, I'm still confused, I don't know, like legit just pray and see what comes to you. And what I've noticed is that the people that are, connecting with God about this are being guided exactly to XRP in particular, and to other key assets in this space. So I think that this is a driving force for how the planet is supposed to change right now. Like, I think that there's a extremely definite reason for God giving people the sign to invest in these assets, because it is going to be the catalyst for us to be the change that we've been waiting for so long. And there's an old Hopi prophecy that has the phrase, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." And, it's this idea that we've externalized power and change in our lives for so long, whether it's a political figure or a company or a group of, other humans or non-humans, any kind of savior complex, we've externalized that. And so I think what this is really doing for humanity right now is it's putting the power back in our hands directly. And if you can listen to God's voice right now, you know where to go and where to act to be involved in this new world. And it's going to be giving us those tools to be that change ourselves. So stay away from the confusion, stay away from people like Jim Cramer and Money Matters, who are telling you, sell crypto right now. Like, literally whatever that guy says, the opposite happens. So
Jim Cramer is the last guy you ever should listen to, because when this guy comes out and he's telling you to buy XRP, I promise you XRP will be 30, 40, 50 bucks. And that is, obviously it's going to put the little guy out, because the little guys are going to buy, you're not going to be able to buy 1 million XRP at 30 bucks each.
Yeah.
Right. You want to buy it now while it's, 42 cents or 40 cents or whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's a low price. I always say, if it goes up and you have extra money, buy some. It stays level and you have extra money, buy some. It goes down, buy some and hold. That's it. That's the magic formula. If you want to know the magic formula, I just gave it to you. And then you have to have the staying power. You have to be in positive cash flow. Make sure you're hustling out there. Stay in that positive cash flow. Make sure you take your vitamin C. Make sure you get your sunshine. Make sure you put your feet in the grass 40 minutes every day. Stay grounded. Okay. And you'll cross the finish line and with your middle finger up and saying, I'm here, bitch. You know, it's like we all got one thing in common. We got that middle finger. We just don't use it enough. Okay. That's what the cabal doesn't want, but that's what we want you to do to the cabal. See, there's a new ruling class. We're coming. They look like us. You know, Jace doesn't look like a guy that's going to be worth billions of dollars, but I bet you he will. You know, and by the way, his links are right down below. Make sure you follow this guy. We need more Jaces in the world. You understand? We need more people to stand up and say, here we are. We're going to speak our mind. We're going to be the coaches. We're going to teach you what we know. This is our journey. Follow us.
Amen.
Simple. Right.
Amen.
Let's talk about the $100,000 Swift thing that's going on right now with the Coinbases of the world, etc. They're trying to shut the little people out. I'm not going to do that. Okay. If they go to $100,000 minimum, I have a $10,000 minimum. The little guy could still get in. If you can't do $10,000, get 4 people who have $2,500, put it in the pot. Okay. You get 10,000, you call me and I'll get you your XRP. I got brokers all over the world. I'm connected. Okay. You'll have the best experience of your life. You're going to pay a higher premium. I'm going to tell you that in a minute. I had a guy say, you told me it was 1%. I said, go back to my videos. If you could show me where I said 1%, I'll give you, $1,000 right now. Obviously, can't.
That's a good deal.
It doesn't exist, right? And so you're going to pay a little bit higher premium. Listen, if I was the only guy that could get you the XRP, and there's nobody else out there, and I don't have $100,000 minimum, it's a $10,000 minimum, I'd be charging you a little bit more than 3.5%. That's what they charge. Now, if you're buying, $1 million worth, can you negotiate? Yes. If you're buying a couple $100,000 worth, can you negotiate? Yes. If you're buying $10,000 worth, probably not. But you know what? The important thing is not what you're paying. The important thing is that you own it. That's the most important thing. So talk to us about this $100,000 Swift thing. How did this all come about? What did you hear? I know that people dropped articles inside our Telegram group, which is right down below. All you guys are crazy if you don't join, okay? Because we'll take you by the hand and show you the ropes and how to own this stuff. What did you hear and how did they come about this? Did somebody from upstairs in the political echelon come down and say, hey, $100,000 minimum? How did it happen?
Yeah, I wish I knew more, but what I've heard was that it came from Binance, and it was like a bunch of emails that went out saying that they weren't going to be able to do Swift transfers under $100,000. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if that came from the banks or if that came from an executive at Binance specifically, but I think it's a definite sign that doors are closing and that liquidity is drying up. And what I do know is that XRP the liquidity is drying up fast on the public market. So, there's been statistics going around that show how much the exchanges actually hold after this whole FTX debacle. Now exchanges have this proof of solvency or needing to prove that, they have the reserves that they say they have. And so after that was published, people realized, hey, the exchanges aren't holding a ton of XRP. Like there's really not much that's left. And then you have Ripple coming along and they're buying up the XRP from the same market that we are, probably not from your private broker, but from the public market that most people are getting it from, which is what makes your private broker even more valuable, because the public is going, we're going to see a supply shock, I think. And then with this $100,000 thing kind of getting phased out, at least on the back end, I think the doors are beginning to close. And, that's something that people like you and I have been saying for quite some time, that this was going to happen. So I think it's a sign that we're getting close to the larger shifts.
And you definitely, guys, with all due respect, I keep saying this on every video because I don't want to see people get hurt. I got people calling me, Mel, I bought the ledgers, and all of a sudden I go to my ledger and there's no more money on my ledger. Yeah, because you bought them from a hacker. You know, you buy them from the links below. Yeah, we're gonna make $4.28. Big whoopee do. We're not gonna retire on your $4.28. I need like 1 million customers, and we don't have millions of customers. I can assure you that. So get your money off of the exchange. You're in control. You put it on this stuff right here. You buy it directly from the manufacturers with the links we provide. The cabal wins and Trump loses and the 17th letter loses and the world goes to shit. There's got to be one country out of 200 countries out there that want to say, hey, come on in. We're going to treat you just right. Bring your digital assets with you. You put your billions of dollars on these things. You put them in your pocket. You go to the airport. You jump on an aircraft or you order yourself one of those private airplanes and you get the hell out of Dodge. This is where you want to be right there. Okay. There's videos on QFS1776.com, which is the holy grail of what's to come. If you don't know nothing about nothing, you go to QFS1776.com and you watch the video top to bottom. And I guarantee you, by the time you get done, you got a second degree, green belt in digital assets. All right. And it's very simple. Then we also have two videos that will walk you how to take your money off the exchange and put it on these things. Okay. You hit the pause button, go to step 2, step 3. There you go. Perfect.
Same color, I think, too.
Right down below. Yeah, exactly. The links are right down below. And you'd be crazy not to, get a couple of these things, because you know what? You don't want to drive your car down the highway without having a spare tire in the trunk. Why in the world would you want to drive your financial future without having 1 or 2 spare ones of these? Yes, if one of these things have malfunctioned on me, and the company's very good. They send you another one very quickly. But the reality is, we're in a war. You have extra food, you have extra water, you have ammunitions, you have whiskey, you have all the stuff that you're gonna need to survive. If the shit really does hit the fan, this is a survival thing also. Make sure you have at least 1 or 2 extra sitting in the drawer. In case it goes to shit, you call the company or you send them an email, you send it back, they send you another one. Meanwhile, you have another one in the drawer that you could just, boom, go back to your live app, put in your 24 key phrases, password, boom, and you're back in business. So even if you flush these things down the toilet, you could still get to your money.
Amen. That's such an important point, because I get asked a lot of times, what if there's a solar flare? What if there's some kind of cataclysm and these things get wiped, right? Like a lot of people are obsessed with putting them in all these Faraday cages, which, definitely protects it. But like you're saying, if it gets destroyed, if it gets water damage, if a solar flare happens, your seed phrase is your backup. So you don't need this thing. This is just what stores your seed phrase to access your crypto. So if you lose this, if this gets wiped out, you can always recover it. The seed phrase is the most important aspect of storing your wealth sovereignly.
Absolutely. Let's talk lastly about Elon Musk, Starlink, the reevaluation, the rainbow currency, how this all fits together. Are we close? Are we not close? Every day it seems that we're close, and then all of a sudden then everything goes quiet, like today and yesterday. Nothing's happening, right? It's like, okay, 3 days ago we were close. All of a sudden, nobody's talking, nobody's saying anything that indicates that we are close, and it's frustrating. So, I'm telling this because I'm frustrated. I want to get my anger out to the white hats to get moving. I want to get my anger out to Mr. 45. We love you, brother, but we got to rock, baby. It's time. We're done. We don't want to pay $18 for a box of eggs. We don't want to pay $12 for a gallon of gas. We got to go now. It's go time. So how does Elon Musk and Starlink and the RV and the rainbow currency all fit in together? Are we close, in your opinion? Or do we really go to 2024 and have another election?
Yeah, well, they say the night is darkest just before the dawn, right? So the crazier it seems, the point where it seems like all hope is lost and where it seems so confusing, that's how you're close. So in regards to, this connection between all these different systems, Elon, Starlink, Nassar, Jassar timelines, these kind of things. This is something that I've been following on my channel and kind of creating connections between particularly XRP, Starlink, and Space Force, because I've noticed that there seems to be a bigger plan that's being worked on behind the scenes, or at least in some kind of, multi-dimensional future sense. And what I mean by that is, for one, SpaceX posts, or sorry, Space Force, they're the ones that do all the missions for Starlink. They're the ones, that are working with Starlink and with Elon. They have made a number of different posts on their social medias regarding banking and economics in space. So why would they bring that up, right? Like, why is that important? Why would they? You wouldn't think that money would be a part of what they're doing in space in the warfighting domain. But when you know what's going on behind the scenes, you know that that's an integral part of the shifts on the planet right now. So what I think is happening is that the Starlink satellites are going to be providing a backup internet for if and when the main system goes down. So we know, from 17 and other related things that the powers that are planning this kind of cyber attack blackout event, right? Like the WEF is calling it out at every event. Like, it's so in our faces. The cyber pandemic is the next biggest thing, blah, blah, blah. So what are they going to try to do? They're going to try to shut down the internet, probably after some kind of major data leak or some information gets out. But now with Starlink has basically created this backup that they can't do that anymore. They have to switch their plans, because now anybody who has a Starlink, when they shut down the mainnet, Starlink's not going to shut down, because they're going to shut down all the servers. That's how the internet works. It's just servers. It's kind of like the blockchain. So if they shut down all the land-based servers, well, guess what? They didn't shut down the satellites. And we know from 17 that they took out the old satellite infrastructure that was previously creating essentially the matrix. And so I think what's going to happen is, if it's not already happening now behind the scenes, in the near future, there will be XRP nodes run on Starlink satellites. I feel very confident in that. And they have already discussed running Dogecoin nodes on Starlink, because I feel like Elon is using Doge as kind of this friendly, like gateway into the deeper utility that crypto can provide. But it's kind of this friendly, face to bring people who don't resonate with crypto into it. And so they're talking about putting Doge nodes. Of course, they could put an XRP node, right? And then obviously with Elon and Twitter, there's been all these Twitter files, all these disclosures coming out. He's calling out all the powers that be or were in the world, and with all those infrastructures combined, I think that we're leading up very quickly to a almost grassroots level disclosure, where if it doesn't come out from the upper echelon, it's going to come out from the lower echelon, because it's like squeezing, and the truth is going to be squeezed out into the public no matter what, whether it's from the grassroots or it's from the top down. It's like they're both coming at it. So I see this definite kind of energetic alliance between XRP, Space Force, and Starlink with SpaceX and Elon, and it's really exciting.
How do they find you, by the way, real quick? What is your
you can find me at consciouscrypto.info.
There you go, right down below. All right, and is that your website? Is that your link also for what is your link for YouTube?
YouTube is at Cosmic Origins.
Perfect.
So youtube.com/@CosmicOrigins.
His information is right down below. So guys, if you listen this far, you know what your job is. Your job is that you are the digital soldier, and this war is won and lost with you guys doing your job. So we don't want to be DOA, dead on arrival. Okay, let's not get complacent. Let's turn up the heat. We got these guys on the run. They're on their knees. Let's kick them in the face. Let's knock their teeth out. Okay, let's win this war. We'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you spread us far and wide. That is your job. Thank you.